Hey, kia ora. Helen Brahms here, coming to you live from Surprise in Arizona. Hope you're having a super fantastic, sparkling day. Welcome to Before the Dirt Nap podcast number 1835. Get to cross another one off. Finish it Friday. Yes, it's Friday. We're up to that time of the week where we get to finish it. If you're following along with the Love to Read right here, Love to Read book club, it is Fantasy Friday. So we have a question about fantasy in there, about what books you think have made a great adaptation to movies, fantasy books, and what fantasy books have missed the mark. So that's your question for the day. So what have we been up to? Oh, it's been an amazing week this week. I have had so much fun this week. I got back into a writing class that I kind of forgot I had until I started getting emails about it. And so I'm like, oh, I have a writing class. So I went back in there, and it's done with James Patterson, who's one of my favorite authors that I like to read. I especially like to read his books when I'm flying. Although I've got something on my cheek. Although I don't mind reading them at other times, but I really do. It's either David Baldacci or James Patterson or Brad Thor are the three authors that I basically read whenever I'm flying. Go through security, make a beat, figure out where the gate is. Once I figure out where the gate is, then my next task is to find the nearest bookstore, go in there, and first I go via the water thingy where you can fill up your water bottles. That's the first thing. Got to stay hydrated. Then I go to the nearest bookstore and I look through the James Patterson books, the David Baldacci books, and the Brad Thor books to see which ones have I not read and pick them up. Now, for the class that I am doing with James Patterson, he's taking everything from this book, Honeymoon. This is a really cool book. I have read it twice now. I'm on my third time through because he refers to this during the lesson. So this is kind of like the textbook, if you will. So I've started reading this again. So I actually now have 7 books on the go. I know one of them's going to have to go on the wayside for a little bit till I get that finished. But I just started reading it again today, and I'm already into it. And I'm doing some annotations in this book, which I haven't done in the past, but because I'm using it to learn about plots and character development and outlines and things like that. In the class that I'm doing, I'm paying closer attention to how does he develop the characters? How does the plot flow? And of course, one thing I love about James Patterson books is that these are very short chapters. They're like 2 to 3 pages, maybe 4 I think 4 at the most. Mainly they're like, let's see, that one's 2.5 pages. He has really, really short. There's a lot of chapters in his book. Like this one here, it's that's the next book. Excerpt from the second honeymoon. No, we want there's all the books he's got written about the authors. Okay, 361 pages. And it's got 117 chapters. But this one, even like chapter 117 is 3 pages. Well, it's spread on 4 pieces of, 4 bits, but it's actually, by the time you take in what's there, it's about 3 pages. So I like them because it makes it a very quick read when you only have, and like some of the other ones I read, like I get on my Kindle there and it says like 20 minutes left in this chapter or 17 minutes in this chapter. I'm like, oh, this is a long chapter. So I'm enjoying reading this again. It has been a long time since I last cracked this book open. So I kind of know what the storyline is. I just don't remember much about it. So going through this time and making annotations as I go is making it a very interesting read. So that's one of my things for this week, and it'll be on my task. The whole class online is like 3 hours. I'm going to knock it out this week, finish knocking it out this weekend. I've already got the first 4 lessons done. There's only 17 lessons to go. And the whole time is like 3 hours and 20 minutes. So I've already got, like I said, the first 4 lessons done. So this weekend is going to be knocking that class out as I'm starting to work more on developing the ideas that I have for these book series that I've been talking about for years. Decided it's time to start writing them. So I finally tried something today, and I was trying to figure out how to set up my laptop on my island in my kitchen, so I could actually do a live demo in the kitchen, but it just wasn't working. It wasn't working well for the angles that I wanted and everything else. So that you could see what I was doing and that sort of stuff. It was not working well. So anyway, I was watching, it was either a reel or TikTok the other day. I can't remember which it was. It's either a reel or it was on TikTok. And it had this Kiwi guy and gal. They were on some news magazine type program in New Zealand, and they were trying this recipe. And I'm watching them and I'm like thinking, that might actually taste pretty good. And so they showed how it was all made. And I'm like, well, I got one of them things, one of those blender thingies, one of those ones that's the individual cup that you put upside down on the thing. And I thought, yeah, I can do that. Although mine, you got to press down to activate it, but that's okay. And so I was looking at it and I was looking at the ingredients and I thought, well, those are actually pretty good ingredients. This might be a recipe. I wonder if Nicole's heard of this recipe. So we're going to talk, I'm going to ask her about it her and I've kind of been talking about it. So I sent her the video clip and she says, well, have you tried it? I went, no. And she goes, well, you try it first. And I went, okay. And so today I finally got to try it. So what it is that it's a 1/4 cup of sweetener, whatever sweetener you want to use, a 1/4 cup of milk, whatever type of milk you want to use, 1/4 cup of cocoa powder, a teaspoon of vanilla essence, and 3 hard-boiled eggs. And you're probably going to go, wait, what? Yeah, it makes this chocolate pudding. And so I got my 3 hard-boiled eggs because I bought hard-boiled some yesterday in my Instapot. And I will tell you this, cooking hard-boiled eggs in an Instapot is a breeze. You stick them in there with a little bit of water in the thing. It pressure cooks them. It makes them very easy to peel. And when I take them out of the pressure cooker, I stick them in an ice bath. Then as I take them out of the ice bath, I peel them and put the peeled eggs into one of my glass containers. And that goes in the fridge for the next few days. Snacks. Because sometimes if I've got to peel an egg, I'm like, yeah, I really don't feel like a snack. And I'll go find something else to snack on. Peeling an egg sometimes, it's just too hard when you have a break. But anyway, so I thought, well, I'm going to try this morning. So, and then got to let it sit in the refrigerator. So after you've blended it in one of those little personal, like a bullet type blender thing, and you got to let it sit in the refrigerator for 5 hours. And this whole video clip that I saw with these 2 Kiwi presenters was absolutely hilarious because they were talking about how the eggs smell like farts and it smells very farty in there, and they weren't sure if this was going to work. And at the end they came out and said it tasted really good. And so I made it up this morning, which meant, and I put them in the refrigerator around 8:15, which meant it would have come out around 1:15 when I was working. So I thought, well, let me wait till I get a break, which was at 2:00. And try it then. So I did try it, and then I sent it over and I recorded myself on video trying this out for Nicole. Sent a video to Nicole, and I says, look, here I am. Here it is. This is what it ends up looking like after 5 hours. Well, it's actually been there a little longer. And I will tell you this. I got on the video and I said to Nicole, I says, here's this thing. I put in here 3 hard-boiled eggs. I used coconut sugar as my sweetener, 1/4 cup of coconut sugar, 1/4 cup of cacao powder. Now, cacao powder and cocoa powder are different. Cacao powder is the precursor to cocoa powder. Cocoa powder is a little more refined than cacao powder. Cacao powder is a little more raw than cocoa powder. And when you refine cacao powder a little more, you get cocoa powder, which is actually a little sweeter than cacao. So I actually used a 1/4 cup of cacao powder, and I put in a 1/4 cup of coconut sugar and 1/4 cup of almond milk. And I have almond milk, MALK, and it doesn't have any of the gums in there that they use for preservatives and things. And if you remember from all of our conversations that we've had with Nicole on when she comes on about how gal gum, which was the one that's usually in there, is very bad for leaky gut. This one does not have any of that stuff in there. It's gum free. So I'm like, yes. And so I put that in there. And I said, I did have a 1/4 cup, and then I put an 1/8 of a cup in there because it got a little too thick and wasn't doing what it's supposed to. So I put a little more in there. And so as I tasted it, I said, and I'm going to try. This stuff is really good. You cannot taste the eggs. And I said to her, I said, I'm going to try some more because I'm surprised I have not finished this, but then I wanted to use it for tonight. So it is good. I'm just a huge chocoholic. So of course, being chocolate, I was like I'm on all this. I said the only thing I would change is I would add a little more coconut sugar because cacao powder is not as sweet as cocoa powder. So I said I probably would have add maybe a a quarter cup is what I had in there of the coconut sugar. So I may have put like a tablespoon in there just to give it just that little bit more sweetness. But it's got a really good flavor. She said, well, can you taste the eggs? I went, nope. But I've got my little bullet type thing, and it's one of these single serve things where you have the container. You put everything in, you turn it upside down, you put it onto the thing, and some of them have buttons. This one you got to press down. And it's like holds, I think it's like 2 to 3 cups it holds. It's not a very big one. It's individual sized. And you put it in there and you blend it all up. And I said I had to put a little more milk in there. So it was a quarter cup, then I added an 1/8 of a cup. Now my measuring cups that I have are really cool because they have this line around the inside of them, and that line is the halfway mark so in my quarter cup there's a line there, and that's an 1/8 of a cup, half the size of a quarter cup. So if I get the half cup, it's got a line in there, and that's a quarter cup. So if you've got to do 1.5 cups, I can actually use the 1 cup and then just fill up to the line that's on the inside, and I've done 1.5 cups. Pretty cool. So anyway, I said to her, I'll probably add just a little more sweetener. I said, it's not sweet, but it's really good. So I sent her this little video, and she said, well, can you taste the eggs? I went, nope, you can't taste the eggs. I said, that's what's just amazing about this thing. And over the weekend, I'll try and figure out how to get it all recorded and all of that. So, actually making it and putting it in the fridge and then coming back 5 hours later to test it again, because I want to try it again with a little more sugar in it, coconut sugar. But it actually tasted really well. So if you want to try it, it's 3 hard-boiled eggs, quarter cup of sweetener, your choice, quarter cup of cocoa powder, or you can use cacao, but if you use cacao, put a little more sweetener in there. A quarter cup of milk, your choice, what type of milk you want to use. 1 teaspoon of vanilla essence, and then blend it all together and stick it in the refrigerator for 5 hours. And even when you finish mixing, you still got that, what do they call it, the farty smell. You still have that there. Still have that egg smell in there but when you come back 5 hours later, that smell's completely gone, and it smells really yummy. So she must have heard something. She just came running into the window. Is that wind picking up again, Zephy? We had to go walking out between thunderstorms last night. She was wanting to go out, so I opened up the front door with the security screen there, and it was like bucketing down. And she just looked out there and just turned around and walked away like, yeah, I'm not going out in that. So high protein, because you've got the eggs in there. Didn't have to worry about the glycemic index because you've got coconut sugar in there. And then you've got the almond milk in there, so more protein. So very good nutrition. Maybe we'll talk about this on Tuesday with Nicole, because she's due to come on Tuesday. So yes, that was my little experiment today, and it worked out very well. So I was very happy. And I have to tell you, so I'm now down. What have I released? I was down 4 inches off my waist. Released 4 inches off my waist. I'm now down another 1.5 inches off my waist. So I'm kind of like, feeling pretty good about this. But I have this yellow raincoat that I purchased, and it goes, all the way down to below my knees. So nice, good coverage and everything else. But I haven't been able to wear it because it's been very snug around the hip area. And so when we were heading out last night, I thought, well, I've released another 1.5 inches off my waist, which means it's also come off my hips as well. So let's try the coat and see if I would tell you, I put that coat on, I zipped it up. I had wiggle room on inside the coat. And I was like, especially around the hip area, which has usually been very snug. I was like, yes. And there was no strain on any seams or anything else. I was like, yes. So I was able to wear that out last night. And of course, the moment we stepped outside, it completely stopped raining. No rain whatsoever, the whole walk. And we just did a very quick walk because there's thunder and lightning all around us. And I said to Zephy, we've got to make this quick. And there was dust storms coming through. And because it seems now that when we've got the thunderstorms coming through, we get the dust storms first and followed by the thunderstorms. So that was last night. So it's been a really good week. I have to say it's been a very, very good week this week. I've been very invigorated this week with working and stuff like that. Got a lot of stuff, got work done for clients. Got, had productive afternoons on the chat for the help chat for Mailbox Power, and just loving life right now. So that's my Finish It Friday. It's been an awesome week. I have got stuff off my to-do lists and everything else. And now this was a surprise. I'm not going to exactly tell you what it is, but there is a method that I have been using to track my to-do lists, and when I have big projects, how I break them down into smaller steps and everything else. And I've told a couple of people about it, and I know one person has talked about it on her TikTok. And I was scrolling through TikTok or Reels yesterday, and this particular sponsored thing came up, and I looked and I went, that's that method that I have been using for the last 10 years. This method that I've been using for the last 10 years, somebody's created a course out of it. I'm like, and I have no idea who this person is. And so I've gone and watched some of her videos and things and thought, interesting. So yeah. Just thinking about what I could have done with that, and maybe I could still go do something with it, because the way she's got the basics of this idea, but I take it a little further with what I do with it. So it might be interesting to explore that option of taking it just a little bit further, and for them to be able to get more out of the program. So we shall see. We shall see about that. But yeah, it was kind of like I actually know how to do that, but I do it a little differently. So who knows? Anyway, that's now going on my to-do list to talk with my business mentor and say, hey, you remember how you taught us this 10 years ago? Well, this is what I came across, and this is what I was thinking, and what do you think? So yeah, another little project to add to my list, but that's okay. I like having projects. I like being busy. And with that, we are out of here for the day. So go out, have a super fantastic sparkling evening, and we'll catch you guys back here tomorrow evening at 6 p.m. Pacific.